How nervous were you last week upon the news of hearing about David DeCastro? And again, less than 24 hours. It was on the same day they bring Trai Turner in. But what was going through your mind when all that went down last week?
Well, I mean, it's less than ideal to be, 30-ish days away from going to training camp, and you have basically a brand new offensive line. I'll defer to Ike on this, but I think I don't want to talk for Ike on this, but I think even he will tell you the mystery of offensive line play is difficult for almost any person who loves football, and I certainly do. I love watching football and have spent an insane number of my precious hours here on the Big Blue Marble watching it. But I don't know who leans good on other 300-pound men, like who's good at doing that versus not. So like I say, I defer to a small handful of friends who actually played the position. I dare say Ike and a lot of guys who play on the outside don't even fully have a grasp of who is effective at doing it in run versus pass and who's a good blend of that. After you saw December, the way things wound up, and, I'm a big number 7 fan and his ability to perform over the course of his career. It's not a coincidence that neither he nor Tomlin has had a losing season. So I think all the doom and gloom you're hearing is overly cynical as far as I'm concerned. But the fact is, Roethlisberger's best trait compared to other Hall of Famers in football history is the not rare, but the unique ability he's had for the majority of his career to have giant guys bounce off of him and extend plays and get outside the pocket and really playground it in a way that, Russell Wilson's good at it. Aaron Rodgers is good at it. Steve Young and a couple of Mike Vick, some guys. But his physical ability to take hits and bounce off them and all of that is not a thing anymore for Roethlisberger. So that adjustment of that's Roethlisberger back there, got to get that out of your head. He moves in the pocket less legitimately than Tom Brady does. He is a static target for the pass rush at this point. I don't know if it's an arthritic knee or what, but he just can't move very well. So obviously the offensive line's play is everything this year. And ultimately, though, for all the negative kind of insinuations I just made there, Ike knows better than I do. Kevin Colbert's as good as it gets in this business. And if he feels okay with Chooks and Banner as your 2 tackles, then it's sort of like when you're on a plane and it gets real turbulent for a second and you're like, oh my God, I don't know, we're going to make it. People always say, look at the flight attendant. Are they freaking out? No, then you don't have anything to worry about. If Kevin Colbert isn't freaking out, if he's not like, we got to get a tackle no matter what happens going into this draft, and they go a few rounds before they even take one, then it leads me to believe, and he knows better than I do about the personnel they have in there, that Chooks and Banner, they have some confidence in what they're going to be able to do. I also think the weird thing with DeCastro specifically is, and I'm sorry as I complete my monologue here, is that there's something weird. There has been something weird going on with DeCastro since last season. His heart didn't seem to be in it. Now we hear about ankle issues all through the season. Why that wasn't dealt with 3 months ago is curious to me. I wonder if Ike has any insight on that. It's very weird that in late June, that's when DeCastro gets the boot. And there's got to be something to them not making this move pre-draft or during the free agency process.
So it can go 2 ways with this. And how I look at it when they let DeCastro go was, it's his heart in it, like you said. And if he's borderline thinking about retirement, you just need to retire because you're not going to put 100% into this sport. And to play this organized violent sport, you have to be 100%. That's why I took my hat off to Pouncey, because he was borderline and thinking about retiring, and he retired. He was like, man, I'm not going to play no games with my body. I'm not going to play no games with my mind. I'm definitely not going to play no games with football in this organization. I just don't feel it anymore, man. I'm gone. So, and for DeCastro to have been going through, because over the past couple of years, he's been going through some injuries. So for him to go through injuries, for him to teeter with retiring man, this might be his best asset. And he's looking at, and then this generation ain't like my generation. We fought and clawed and played through any kind of injury we wanted to. And that was just a tough man mentality. You know, this generation, like, let me check my bank account. My bank account say I'm good for the rest of my life. I still want to be able to play with my kids. When I turn 50, 60 years old, oh yeah, I'm about to see y'all later, man. I thank y'all for everything y'all done for me, but I'm out. So that's how this generation thinks, which I also tip my hat to as well. But when you want to talk about Trai Turner, that's another New Orleans guy. I hate to say it, so I got to be biased with that. So I know for sure Trai like doing the ones right now. Meaning he gonna sign for 1 year. He gonna see how he do next year. So a lot of these guys are getting smarter, even when they sign, regardless on what you want to think about them. Man, I'm gonna do one and done unless you really give me some money to make me sit and stay. So Pittsburgh, you know, for the most part, and you say the best, Dave, Kevin Colbert and their front office, they know what they're doing. They've been doing this for a long time. Now they give it to Coach Tomlin and let Coach Tomlin figure out the personnel and the X's and O's and, okay, can he play tackle or do we need to put him at guard and blase. So for me, when DeCastro retired, you know, it's always good because I know a few Green Berets and a few team guys who in the military, and they say, all right, what keeps us good, we never panic. When bullets get to flying past our head, when they get to whistling past our bodies, we just never panic. We're always under control. That's how I look at the Pittsburgh front office. Regardless on what's going on and regardless on whether we like or dislike what they're doing in the front office, they never panic. So that's why I commend Kevin Colbert. And you said the best, man, which Ozzy's a Hall of Fame over there at Baltimore. And I think Kevin Colbert will be the same, a Hall of Fame, you know, GM. He will make it. So that's what I do like about Pittsburgh. One, you get stability. Two, you got a guy like Kevin Colbert in the front office. He just never panics.